I want to say thank you to everybody who decided to watch this video. And I want to send a special shout out to my patrons and Twitch subscribers. You guys help me make this channel better. And I want to say, enjoy the show. So, probably about 3 months ago, I did a video talking about how we need to actually change our way we look at work and shit. And quite frankly, this is something that they did a study talking about how, some companies in England, while they actually worked, the government actually helped support a 4-day weekend, a 4-day work week. And the people worked that 4-day week and it was no loss in their pay. And they had either Friday or Wednesday off. I'm more of a Wednesday off person myself. And we keep getting these stories where our relationship to work actually changed. And it's quite telling that in the UK, Turf Island, the island of the lords and ladies and shit like that, where they are really considering having people work less. While in the US, there's a big news story about, the president trying to force striking union workers to work more. But I digress. Let's actually look, and this article comes from The Guardian. 100 UK companies sign up for a 4-day work week with no loss of pay. Thousands of employees will be moved permanently to 4 days in a policy that described as transformative. And yes, we know a lot of this came from the pandemic and dealing with COVID. And even though this was something that was predicted with Keynesian, ironically, Keynesian, economics, almost 100 years ago, this is some of the things that's come into fruition. Now, 100 UK companies have signed up for a permanent 4-day work week for all of their employees with no loss of pay, a milestone in the company's fundamental change in Britain's approach to work. And again, this is a place where it is a little bit more regressive in certain things versus other things, but yeah, let's keep going. 100 companies 100 companies employ 2,600 staff, a tiny fraction of UK's working population, but a 4-day week campaign group is hoping that they will be the vanguard of the major shift. Proponents of the 4-day work week say that the 5-day pattern is a hangover from an early economic age. They argue that a 4-day week would drive companies to improve their productivity, meaning that they can create the same output using fewer hours. For some early adopters, the policy has proven a useful way of attracting and retaining employees. The two biggest companies that have signed are Adam Bank, a global marketing company, Adwin, who each have about 450 staff in the UK. They have been accredited by a 4-day work week campaign, meaning that they've demonstrated they have genuinely reduced hours for workers rather than forcing them into longer days. Adam Ross, Adwin's chief executive, said adopting the 4-day week was one of the most transformative innovations we've seen in history of the company. Over the course of the last year and a half, we have not only seen tremendous increase in employee wellness and well-being, but concurrently our customer service and relations, as well as talent relations and retention have benefited. So in other words, doing a 4-day work week has alleviated some stress from a lot of people. Oh, wow. I wonder why that is. You're telling me when people don't have to work themselves to death in order to work, they are more productive? Oh shit, who would have saw that coming? Says any economic theories that wasn't um fucking Freeman. But let's continue. The UK is also coordinating the world's largest pilot scheme for about 70 companies, which would employ about 3,300 workers to adapt a 4-day week in a trial. Researchers at the University of Cambridge and Oxford, Boston College, and think tank Autonomy. In September, 88% of those companies in a survey in the middle of the trial said a 4-day work week was working well for their business. And at the stage of the trial, about 95% of the companies surveyed said productivity had either stayed the same or improved since the introduction. Oh, and this is the craziest thing. We know that productivity doesn't drive a lot of these companies because they have to have the finger on the pulse or the throat of their employees at all times. Because look at goddamn work from home. Now, there are still some companies that allow work from home. My company still allows work from home. And the reason why is because it's really about, retaining the employees. Like, for instance, the reason why I stream so late in the evening is because my company allows me to work from home as long as I close down the call center I work in. In other words, I stay to close. And because of that, I'm able to work from home. Now, here's the thing about it. They use that as a tool to be able to say, hey, you want the benefit from working from home? Yeah, you got to stay to close. And this is kind of the same thing. It's that things that benefit companies actually equate to more productivity, but it's just like they have to kind of like, I don't know, still feel like they're in charge. But this is a little bit different. And I'm glad to see that the change in the progress is actually going where it's like, okay, we give our employees more time and we're not really losing anything. But to be honest with you, they're actually just gaining money from the state anyway. But, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep being positive with this shit. All right. So, here, Joe Ryle, the UK company's director, said there was an increase in momentum in the adoption of the 4-day work week as company braced for a long recession. We want to see a 4-day work week with no loss of pay become normal way of working in this country by the end of the decade, so we're aiming to sign up more companies over the next few years, he said. With many businesses struggling to afford 10% inflation pay raises, we're starting to see an increasing evidence that a 4-day work week with no loss of pay is being offered as an alternative to the solution. Most companies that haven't officially adopted the 4-day work week are in the service sectors such as technology, events, or marketing companies. However, the campaign says that some manufacturing and construction employees also have signed up. Some historians have said the debate over the introduction of the 4-day work week has many similarities with the 19th century campaign for a 2-day weekend. So, yeah, this is actually telling, because what ends up happening is workers, we are what drives these companies. And as long as these companies are fighting against their workers, then they're shooting themselves in the foot. And I hope this not only catches up within the end of the decade, but it's also something that should actually be adapted just across the fucking world. I know people will think that, hey, it's just these laptop people, it's just these service sector people who literally just have the availability to say, like, oh, you only want to work 4 days a week? Then you're not really working hard. And really, I work 40 hours a week. I work hard. And that's even outside of the dedication I put to YouTube. I work in the customer service sector. And this is one thing that I've never also gotten. If you have more shifts to cover by working, like this is just my poor man's economic understanding, and maybe I'm rambling. If you have it where people are paid the same for less time, but you have to still fill those hours, that means more people are actually working. So bear with me on this one. It's just gonna kind of make sense. If you regulate how many people have to work at a given time, where you have, let's just take a blind number of 10, and you have people that only can, at first people were working 5, they can work up to 5, so you only need 2 people to cover those shifts. But if you cut it down where people can actually work 4, you still have to hire that third person. What if you have to work, for people to have to work 3? You hire 4 people. And it's the reverse of the tragedy of the commons, where the more people are hired, the more work there is, and the more money into the economy. And I know that there'll be some people that will say, well, these people, they don't want to work. And you pay a man enough to work where they have to work and they're not being exploited, then they're gonna work. And I don't know, it just seems to me that a lot of people poo-poo on workers, and they say that workers don't really want to work, when in reality they're not compensated enough. And you just saw it. People are willing to take a pay freeze over not working as much. Would I do that? Would I stay at my same pay and only work, I don't know, 32 hours a week, have me 3 days off, even if it means me not getting more pay? Fuck yeah. Now the bonus would be to get more pay, but fuck yeah. But yeah, no, I don't know. That's what I have to say about it. I know it's not one of my traditional videos, but it's one of those videos where, to be very honest with you, we need to have more of a conversation about it, especially when striking workers are actually being told to get back to work. You motherfucking slaves. But anyway, that's what I have to say about it. Like, share, and subscribe, and we can go on to the next subject, but cut this video here.
If I gave myself the power